Horror is one of the most difficult video game genres to master. Creating an atmosphere and feelings of peril on top of dishing out spine-chilling enemies, as well as then having actually good gameplay, is almost impossible to do. So when a horror game does actually manage to grab all of these elements and turn them into something really terrifying, it can be a bit overwhelming. However, if you grab a friend or two and throw them into the mix, then you stand a far better chance of nervously laughing off the whole traumatic experience rather than crapping your pants with fear, which is exactly why I've brought along Kirsten to multiplayer this multiplayer horror list with me, to avoid any pant-crapping circumstances, clearly. Anyway, hello Kirsten, welcome along.
Hello Ash, and yes, horror video games are so much better when you can face them with friends. The gloomy hallways, the daunting forests, the abandoned cities, creatures and killers lurking around every corner just waiting to rip you apart. So why not throw your pal in their way instead and make it out alive, eh? Or better yet, play as the killer yourselves.
Ah, yes, glad I invited you along. With that in mind, I am the friendly Ash from WhatCulture Gaming, and these are the 10 best multiplayer horror video games. 10. Left 4 Dead 2. Valve may have left this series for dead back in ye old 2009 with the most recent release, but this game still holds up fantastically well and has hours of fun gameplay for you and your mates if you have any, so big recommend. You have control over 4 playable characters, which are Nick, Ellis, Rochelle, and Coach, and then you play through 5 different levels in an attempt to beat the zombie hordes and try and reach safety, as well as having loads of other different modes that you can play through, which are wonderful, great fun. Other game modes include Versus, which sees the campaigns played as normal, but the special infected, hunters, smokers, boomers, and even tanks are controlled by other people, who can win the round by killing the survivors. So you get to have a go at killing your friends in a variety of formats at the very least. There is also a terrific survival mode where you must simply last as long as you can, and a scavenge mode where survivors must collect fuel and the player-controlled infected must stop them. In short, there are a million modes to be playing at and a whole range of death to be dealing if you like your horror in tear and share style. Enjoy this fine vintage gem.
Number 9, GTFO. In the most recent entry on this list, we have 2019's GTFO. Now, it was originally released to be an exclusive for Steam, but GTFO gained a lot of fanfare and momentum with its launch trailer in 2017. This depicted a squad of 4 silently lurking through corridors whilst making intelligent tactical callouts and planting the seeds that all is not right with your surroundings. After breaching a huge door, gruesome monsters come pouring out and you must defend your position against the onslaught. Fantastic cuts and pieces of gameplay show that this is a game full of terrifying creatures, dark corridors, and a sense of dread that is ideal for the complete horror game experience. Gameplay has also received favourable reviews, with GTFO currently sitting at 9 out of 10 on Steam. Similarly to Left 4 Dead 2, you are just one of a squad of 4, utilising the advanced equipment and weaponry at your disposal. You must work as a collective to ensure the completion of your mission and your own survival. Of course, you could go down the Left 4 Dead route and go gung-ho through all of the levels, but then you're missing the perilous atmosphere that the developers were trying to create. Everyone is really excited about this game's full release.
8. Friday the 13th. Released in 2017, Friday the 13th is an asymmetrical horror game that sees 7 counsellors attempt to flee from Jason Voorhees, the big, masked horror baddie from film world that has come to tear you limb from limb and slash you up with his machete. Oh, not very nice. After loading up the lobby, Jason is randomly selected. The remaining players must scavenge weapons to fend off the murderer, hide to try and stay alive, and ultimately escape the camp by completing objectives or surviving long enough for the time limit to expire. After years and years of waiting, the legendary Jason Voorhees has finally got a great game. He even has special abilities that relate back to his film persona, where he can sense nearby counsellors or players with his spider senses, which I feel like is maybe from the wrong franchise, but still, he can do that, as well as teleport across the map so you never know where he's going to be. There are 9 different versions of Jason to play as well as 5 gorgeous maps to compete on, including an 80s stylized version of Camp Crystal Lake. If you can escape from Jason long enough to enjoy the scenery, then hey, looks like you're in luck with this one.
Number 7, Resident Evil 5. Whilst the 7th major entry in the franchise isn't everyone's favourite Resi title, there is a lot of fun to be had when playing in co-op, especially given how stupid the AI can be sometimes. 2 players can become fan favourite Chris Redfield and his new partner, Sheva Alomar. Together you journey to Africa to retrieve a bioweapon that is set to be sold on the black market. Upon arriving in Kijuju, you discover that all of the local populace has been infected with Las Plagas, the same enemy types as seen in Resident Evil 4. In one cutscene, we see a man's eyes and nose bleed degrade severely as he turns into a Magini. The way even the most basic enemies charge at you with a guttural scream will creep out even the toughest of players. They'll charge at you from around corners or group up in tight alleyways with hatchets and knives raised above their heads, slowly lurking towards you. The game will also see you fight against many more colossal and hideous mutations of the many strains of virus found in the Resident Evil canon. Let's hope you can find a lot of ammo.
6. Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare. Red Dead Redemption released to critical acclaim. It features a beautiful open world, compelling characters, and a thriving narrative experience that just opens up the more and more you play. There is so much content and so much extra goodies included in this game that you could be lost in it for hours and hours on end. But nobody cares. Nobody cares about that because it also released the best DLC expansion one could ever hope to have in the form of Undead Nightmare. This mode saw the player continue in the role of John Marston, but a zombie plague has now infected the land. For single player, it added an entirely new storyline to play through, complete with side quests and random encounters. Zombies roam the land ripe for rooting, tooting, and indeed shooting. And this post-apocalyptic Wild West is completely open to multiplayer too, so you can bring some friends along with you. And of course, there are exclusive modes to try out too. The first is called Undead Overrun, which is essentially a survival horde mode, and the second is about securing 7 areas across the map. Although it's now nearly a decade old, there is still a great experience to be had. You just have to round up your own posse and have a blast.
Number 5. The Forest. This year, The Forest will be celebrating its 6th birthday since its first early access release, with recent reviews moving into the overwhelmingly positive bracket on Steam. Seeing a full release in 2018, The Forest puts you in the shoes of Eric LeBlanc, a survivor of a plane crash on an unknown island. In regular P2P, you can host up to 8 players in one game, or you can even get a lot more through setting up a dedicated server. Ebbing in and out of consciousness, you see a nightmarish humanoid take your infant child. Emerging from the wreckage, you and your survivor buddies must build, craft, explore, and hunt to survive and thrive in your new environment. Always be aware of your surroundings though, particularly at night. A dangerous tribe of cannibal mutants inhabits the island, and depending on how hostile the player is, they would love nothing more than to skin you alive. With no linear story mode to speak of in the form of missions and quests, it's up to the players to explore the island themselves. Several updates have built upon the twisting lore surrounding the forest, with new enemies and island hierarchy. This haunting title is definitely one to keep an eye on.
4. Killing Floor 2. Killing Floor 2 is a triumph of the genre. As a horror first-person shooter, you can play alone or with friends. It gives you the options to kill however you like. And with a name like Killing Floor, you can be sure that you're going to do a lot of killing. There are up to 6 players in an online lobby, as well as a whole variety of enemies with up to 14 different types that all use a variety of attacks to try and brutally murder you as horribly and efficiently as possible. And they come in unrelenting waves. As the rounds progress, tougher enemies will become more and more frequent, such as the Scrake with its chainsaw arm or the Flesh Pound whose hands are literal meat grinders. This all culminates with a massive boss battle at the end of every game, which never gets stale because there are over 30 different maps to try and face down these big bads on as well. Blood, gore, and viscera will flow as the game kicks you into slow motion to really enjoy your perfect headshot. It is pretty awesome.
Number 3. Dead Rising 3. As if murdering thousands and thousands of zombies by yourself isn't fun enough, why not throw a friend into the mix? Playing through the campaign as Nick Ramos, you can have a friend join your playthrough to help you by playing as Dick. Yep, that's right. Dick. Dead Rising 2 introduced weapon customization, and this was carried over and built upon for Dead Rising 3. Not only are there 64 combo weapons and 37 super combo weapons, Capcom had the ingenious idea to add in combo vehicles. Want to combine a forklift and a fireworks van to create a vehicle that can impel your undead enemies before firing them up in the sky to explode in a jettison of brightly coloured chunks? Go for it! All of the infamous psychopaths can also be tackled in co-op, although you may want to ramp the difficulty up for these encounters. You don't want the game to be a total walk in the park. With the biggest hordes, grittiest world, and most unique gameplay in the series, Dead Rising 3 is sure to give you and your friend all the fun that you can handle.
2. Call of Duty Zombies. Beginning back in 2008 with World at War, Zombies has become a staple of the Call of Duty franchise, featuring in 8 of the titles since. Zombies certainly had humble beginnings, with the main aim of the game being to try and survive in a small contained area. But since its explosion as one of gamers' favourite modes in the years since, it has become the main attraction rather than a simple side quest. With its own storyline spanning numerous games, interesting interactive maps, and some particularly entertaining gimmicks and cameos, the Zombies mode is a must-play for any fans of the first-person shooter genre. genre. Because of all the quirks that COD Zombies has, you could argue that it runs a risk of losing that initial horror attraction that draws horror fans to it. But ever since Black Ops 4, building into the narrative of entertaining zombie mashing on places like the Titanic or Rome or Alcatraz, it really doesn't matter, does it? It's just heaps of fun. It's just mad good fun. If you want a novel zombie mashing experience, then this is the game for you. Call of Duty, it's more like cease only dead or kill all dead if we go phonetic, which works a lot better. But anyway, moving on.
Number 1, Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight will be having you wear your brown trousers every time you play it. The game is centered around 5 players, 4 of which are survivors and 1 will be chosen at random to be a killer. You must fight or sneak your way to freedom. Several games have tried to copy this formula, such as Friday the 13th and Dead Realm, but Dead by Daylight is still firmly in place as the king of its genre. Updates and DLC have seen the number of killers in the game shoot from 3 at launch to 19, with all different ghastly appearances and abilities. There are also some amazing cameos, including Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Bubba Sawyer, and the Demogorgon, just to name a few of the Hollywood horror icons on offer. As the survivors, there are 2 ways to escape any of the 14 gorgeously designed realms: reactivating the generators or locating the secret trapdoor. One thing that is absolutely required though is that you work together. If you don't, there's a meat hook waiting for each of you. There is also some fantastic lore laced throughout the world of Dead by Daylight that links all the events and killers together. So grab your friends and pray that you make it out alive.
Oh, what a lovely list and/or other video format that was. I, for one, sure enjoyed that list and/or other video format we just watched together, but hey, out with the old and in with the new, because time has passed since then, and we're going to talk about What Culture Horror instead, which is our brand new channel we've just launched for all things spooky, scary, weird and wonderful. So if you like lists, we've got them. If you like news videos, we've got those. If you like podcasts, we've got those as well. So there's all sorts of treats for your list and/or other video format needs you can check out on What Culture Horror. It's very good if I do say so myself. I liked it a lot and I think you should check it out. In the meantime, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, sacrifice your firstborn child to the overalls of What Culture, and also check out What Culture Horror. Thanks for watching.
And that's our list. What do you think of these multiplayer horror games? Leave us a comment down below and let us know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button. But for now, from What Culture, I have been Kirsten.
And I've been Ash.
And we shall see you in the next video.